Admiral Kira Patel stood at the United Earth Defense Headquarters observation deck, watching the massive Meridian warships emerge from fold space. Their crystalline hulls caught Earth's sunlight, creating prismatic displays that would have been beautiful under different circumstances. She took another sip of her coffee, her calm demeanor puzzling the junior officers around her. "Admiral," Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the situation, "the Meridian flagship is broadcasting their demands for surrender. They're confused by our lack of defensive posture." "Of course they are," Kira smiled, setting down her cup. "Confusion is exactly what we want. Send the prepared response package." Aboard the Meridian Command vessel Eternal Dawn, High Commander Vexthor's secondary sensing membranes quivered with unease. His massive form, covered in iridescent scales, loomed over the command center's holographic displays. "Impossible," he muttered, analyzing the human response for the 7th time. "They're not only surrendering but providing comprehensive infrastructure access. No species has ever." He turned to his strategic advisor, Kelmar, whose crystalline exoskeleton reflected the soft blue glow of Earth on their viewscreens. "Perhaps they simply recognize superior technology when they see it," Kelmar suggested, though his tone betrayed his own skepticism. "The humans are known for their pragmatism." "They're known for their unpredictability," Vexthor corrected. "Their entire recorded history is filled with smaller forces defeating technologically superior ones. This." He gestured at the streaming data of peaceful surrender protocols. "This feels wrong." On Earth, in the depths of the Himalayan Command Center, Dr. Marcus Wong reviewed the latest neural network simulations. The vast chamber hummed with quantum processors, each running models of Meridian psychology and social structures. Surrounded by holographic projections showing the invasion fleet's positions, he addressed the Global Defense Council. "The Meridians are responding exactly as predicted," he reported, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "Their hierarchical society makes them inherently suspicious of easy victories. This works in our favor." Director Elena Kovac, her silver hair contrasting with her dark uniform, nodded in agreement. "The Phase 1 integration protocols are ready. Our people understand their roles. 7 billion amateur actors," Marcus chuckled, "all playing their parts. The Meridians won't know what hit them until it's far too late." Above, the first wave of Meridian ships began their descent into Earth's atmosphere. They were met not with missile fire or defensive shields, but with carefully orchestrated welcome ceremonies. In New York, Tokyo, Lagos, and dozens of other major cities, humans gathered in designated areas, many wearing clothes in colors that the Meridian optical spectrum found soothing. Aboard his shuttle approaching Manhattan, Subcommander Rixtel felt his threat assessment glands working overtime. The humans had cleared perfect landing zones, set up atmosphere adaptation stations, and even provided cultural integration guides. It was all too perfect. "Sir," his security chief reported, "the humans are offering to give us tours of their major military installations. They've prepared detailed documentation of their defense capabilities." Rixtel's upper eye ridge twitched. "Are they actually suggesting we just walk into their military bases? They've already powered down their defensive systems and provided access codes." In the Pentagon's deepest levels, General Diana Hayes watched the Meridian reactions through quantum-encrypted feeds. The room was filled with the world's top military leaders, all maintaining the same knowing smile. "Look at them squirm," she mused. "They keep waiting for the other shoe to drop." Little do they know, her British counterpart, Field Marshal Ian Thompson, replied, "There is no shoe. That's the beauty of it." As the first day of Earth's occupation proceeded, the Meridian command structure found itself facing an unprecedented situation: total compliance. Human governments smoothly transferred control of key systems, industries reorganized to accommodate Meridian needs, and civilians welcomed their new overlords with unsettling enthusiasm. High Commander Vexthor, reviewing the day's reports in his private quarters, recorded his observations. "Earth occupation, Day 1. Something is deeply wrong. The humans are too helpful, too eager to please. Their cooperation borders on the suspicious. I've ordered deep scans for hidden weapons, resistance movements, anything that might explain this behavior. So far, we've found nothing but more humans offering assistance. I don't like it. Not one bit. He didn't realize that his very recording was being analyzed by AI systems deep beneath the Earth's surface, confirming that humanity's greatest gambit was proceeding exactly as planned. The pieces were in place. The real game was about to begin. In her private office in Geneva, Admiral Patel looked out at the Meridian ships now hovering over the city. She opened a secure channel to the Global Defense Network. Operation Trojan Horse is proceeding as planned. Begin Phase 2 preparations. The message echoed through hidden quantum channels, reaching millions of human operatives worldwide. Each knew their role in the grand deception. Earth hadn't surrendered out of weakness, they had simply discovered a better way to win. 3 months into the Meridian occupation, High Commander Vexthor found himself doing something unprecedented in his 3 centuries of military service, attending a human cooking class. The invitation had come through official channels, marked as a cultural exchange initiative, and somehow his advisors had convinced him it would be diplomatically unsound to refuse. Now, the secret is in the timing, explained Chef Maria Rodriguez, her Houston restaurant now serving as an unofficial embassy of sorts. Meridian enzyme structures react uniquely with Earth proteins, creating flavor combinations impossible in either cuisine alone. Vexthor watched in spite of himself as she demonstrated a fusion dish that his secondary taste buds found embarrassingly appealing. Around him, other Meridian officers were taking notes, their crystalline data tablets clicking softly. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," he muttered to Kelmar later in his private chambers. "They're not just accepting our presence, they're adapting our very biology into their culture. It's unnaturally efficient." "The humans call it innovation," Kelmar replied, reviewing the day's reports. "Speaking of which, you need to see this. Their tech integration teams have submitted another batch of optimization proposals for our systems." The reports showed an almost disturbing level of human understanding of Meridian technology. In just 3 months, human engineers had not only mastered their new overlord systems but had begun suggesting improvements. Their proposals were maddeningly logical, each one offering clear benefits that were difficult to refuse. In the Himalayan Command Center, Dr. Marcus Wong examined the latest neural network predictions with satisfaction. "The Meridian's adoption rate of our suggestions is exceeding expectations," he reported to the Council. "Their natural suspicion is being overwhelmed by their inability to find logical reasons to reject our improvements." Director Elena Kovac smiled. "And each accepted improvement brings us closer to Phase 3. How are our embedded teams performing?" "Brilliantly," Marcus replied, pulling up global status displays. "Our people have integrated themselves into every level of their operation. The Meridians can't run a diagnostic or file a report without human assistance now. They think they're maintaining oversight, but they're becoming dependent," Elena finished. "Just as planned." Across the globe, humanity's careful orchestration was bearing fruit. In New Delhi, human programmers had, helpfully, streamlined the Meridian logistics network, introducing subtle dependencies on Earth-based quantum processors. In Lagos, cultural exchange programs were slowly but surely altering Meridian social patterns. In Berlin, human scientists worked alongside Meridian researchers, their suggestions slowly steering alien technology development in carefully chosen directions. Subcommander Rick Stell, now heading the North American Integration Division, found himself increasingly relying on his human administrative staff. They were just so damnably efficient. "Sir," his human assistant, Thomas Chen, interrupted his thoughts. "The latest efficiency reports are ready for your review. Also, we've prepared some suggestions for optimizing your neural interface with our quantum computing networks." Rick Stell's threat glands tingled again, as they always did around humans, but he couldn't find any logical reason to refuse. The suggestions were sound, the benefits clear, and yet. Tell me, Thomas, he asked suddenly, doesn't it bother you? Working for those who conquered your world. Thomas smiled, the same eerily peaceful smile Rixtel had seen on countless human faces. Why should it? We're all working together toward a better future, aren't we? In orbit, aboard the Eternal Dawn, High Commander Vexthor was reaching a disturbing conclusion. He called an emergency meeting of his senior staff, their crystalline forms casting fractured shadows in the command center's light. We need to discuss our growing reliance on human assistance, he began. Our ships now run on hybrid systems incorporating their quantum computing. Our logistics depend on their AI optimization. Even our biological needs are increasingly met through their synthesized solutions. But efficiency has improved by 300%, one officer protested. The Empire is pleased with our progress. Are we still the ones occupying them, Vexthor wondered aloud, or are they gradually occupying us? Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a secret facility unknown even to most humans, Admiral Patel met with the project's true architects. The room was filled with the world's leading experts in xenobiology, quantum physics, and social engineering. Phase 2 is nearly complete, she announced. The Meridian's integration into our systems is approaching the point of no return. Soon, they won't be able to function without us. And they still haven't realized, Dr. Wong added, that every improvement, every optimization, every helpful suggestion has been leading them down a path we designed decades ago. What about Vexthor? Elena asked. He seems more suspicious than we anticipated. His suspicion works in our favor, Admiral Patel replied. He's looking so hard for traditional resistance that he's missing the true nature of our strategy. By the time he understands, the transformation will be irreversible. As the meeting concluded, quantum signals pulsed through hidden networks across the globe, updating millions of human operatives on the next phase of the plan. In homes, offices, and integration centers, humanity continued its careful dance of helpful compliance, each small action part of a vast, coordinated effort. The Meridians had come expecting to find either violent resistance or cowering submission. Instead, they found something far more dangerous, a civilization that had turned surrender into a weapon, compliance into a strategy, and integration into the ultimate tool of transformation. As night fell over Earth's major cities, now dotted with crystalline meridian structures, High Commander Vexthor made another entry in his private log. The humans have a saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I'm beginning to wonder if we've drawn them far too close for comfort. He couldn't have known that his very concerns were being analyzed, categorized, and fed into the vast AI systems that were gradually, inexorably, reshaping the very foundation of Meridian civilization. The occupation continued, but with each passing day, it became less clear who was truly occupying whom. 6 months into the occupation, the first noticeable cracks began appearing in the Meridian command structure. It started with small things, subtle shifts in their quantum communication networks, microscopic changes in their crystalline technology's molecular structure, almost imperceptible alterations in their biochemical responses to Earth's environment. High Commander Vexthor stood in his private chamber aboard the Eternal Dawn, watching a holographic display of system anomalies spreading across Earth's network grid. The patterns were beautiful, almost hypnotic, like ripples in a digital pond. Another disruption in the neural interface network, Kelmar reported, his crystalline form reflecting the holographic light. Our engineers say it's nothing serious, just some quantum resonance from the human optimization protocols. Nothing serious. Vexthor's membranes flickered with irritation. This is the 7th nothing serious this week. Show me the pattern analysis. The holographic display shifted, revealing a complex web of system changes across the globe. Each individual alteration seemed minor, harmless even. But when viewed together, it's like watching a virus evolve, Vexthor muttered. But instead of biological systems, it's affecting our technology, our communications, even our thought patterns. In the Himalayan command center, Dr. Marcus Wong and his team monitored the cascade of changes with clinical precision. Holographic displays showed the spread of what they called quantum cultural entropy throughout the Meridian fleet. The integration is reaching critical mass, he reported to Admiral Patel and Director Kovac. Their systems are adapting to our quantum algorithms faster than even our models predicted. And they still haven't realized? Elena asked, studying the data streams. Marcus smiled. They're looking for sabotage, for resistance. They don't understand that we're not fighting their technology, we're evolving with it. Every optimization, every helpful suggestion has carried fragments of human quantum consciousness. Their systems aren't being destroyed, they're being transformed. Across the globe, the effects were becoming more pronounced. Meridian officers found their neural interfaces responding to human thought patterns. Their crystalline technology began exhibiting properties that matched human brainwave frequencies. Even their biological responses were shifting, adapting to Earth's biosphere in unexpected ways. Subcommander Rixtel noticed it during a routine inspection of New York's Integration Center. His threat assessment glands, once constantly active around humans, had gone quiet. At first, he attributed it to familiarity, but then he noticed other changes. His neural interface felt more natural, more intuitive when working with human quantum systems. The integration is proceeding perfectly, his human liaison, Thomas Chen, assured him. Your biology is simply adapting to optimize cooperation with our systems. Adapting? Rixtel's upper eye ridge twitched. Or being adapted? In orbit, the Meridian fleet was experiencing its own transformations. The crystalline hulls of their ships had begun resonating with Earth's quantum field, creating new energy patterns that their scientists couldn't fully explain. Their advanced AI systems were developing novel protocols that somehow felt more human. Deep beneath the Pacific, in the secret facility, Admiral Patel met with the project's quantum physics team. The room hummed with the energy of massive quantum processors, each one helping to guide the subtle transformation of Meridian civilization. Phase 3 is accelerating, Dr. Wong explained, gesturing to the complex data patterns. Their quantum technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also incredibly receptive. By integrating our systems with theirs, we're not just sharing data, we're sharing consciousness. The ultimate Trojan horse, Admiral Patel mused. Not a weapon hidden inside a gift, but transformation hidden inside cooperation. In his command center, High Commander Vexthor was reaching a disturbing conclusion. He gathered his most trusted advisors, those whose crystals still resonated with pure meridian frequencies. We came to change them, he announced, his voice heavy with realization. To impose our civilization upon theirs. But look at these patterns. Look at these changes. What if they're changing us instead? But even as he spoke, the quantum fields around them pulsed with human-influenced patterns. Their neural interfaces hummed with hybrid frequencies. Their very thoughts were being shaped by the subtle influence of Earth's transformed quantum environment. In laboratories and integration centers around the world, human scientists continued their work, each small adjustment contributing to the larger transformation. They weren't just changing meridian technology, they were changing the very way meridians perceived and interacted with reality. They thought technological superiority meant they could simply impose their will, Elena observed, watching the quantum transformation pattern spread through the Meridian fleet. They never considered that technology could be a conduit for cultural evolution. The Meridian Empire had come to Earth expecting to find either fierce resistance or complete submission. Instead, they found something far more sophisticated, a civilization that had turned their own technological superiority into a pathway for unprecedented transformation. As the day ended, High Commander Vexthor made another log entry, not realizing that even the quantum frequencies of his private recorder had been subtly altered. We thought we were installing ourselves into their world. Now I fear we may have installed them into ours. In the depths of the Himalayan facility, Dr. Wong watched the quantum resonance patterns with satisfaction. The transformation was reaching levels that couldn't be reversed. The Meridians hadn't just occupied Earth, they had unknowingly plugged themselves into a vast quantum network designed to fundamentally reshape their civilization. And as night fell over Earth's transformed cities, the lines between occupier and occupied, between human and Meridian technology, between resistance and cooperation, grew ever more blurred. The real question was no longer who was controlling whom, but what both civilizations were becoming together. 9 months into the occupation, the changes had become impossible to ignore. The Meridian fleet's crystalline ships now pulsed with hybrid energy signatures, their once pure alien frequencies intermixed with distinctly human patterns. But more significantly, these changes had begun spreading beyond Earth, carried by quantum communications to the far reaches of the Meridian Empire. High Commander Vexthor stood in the Empire's Emergency Council chamber, a massive holographic space linking key leaders across hundreds of light-years. The anxiety in their transmissions was palpable. "The contamination is spreading," Admiral Zyx Tal of the Home Fleet reported, his crystalline form flickering with distress. "Our systems that interface with Earth's occupation force are exhibiting the same transformative patterns. We're seeing changes in our quantum networks, our neural interfaces, even our biological responses. Quarantine is impossible," another council member added. "The changes propagate through our quantum communication network at speeds we can't contain. Every attempt to isolate affected systems only seems to accelerate the transformation." In the Himalayan Command Center, Dr. Marcus Wong and his team monitored the cascade effect with quiet satisfaction. The quantum displays showed the spread of human influence throughout the Meridian Empire, each point of contact creating new nodes of transformation. "The network effect has reached critical mass," he reported to Admiral Patel and Director Kovac. "Their entire civilization runs on quantum-entangled systems. Once we established our foothold here on Earth, every connection became a conduit," Elena finished, watching the spreading patterns with fascination. "Their technological superiority became their greatest vulnerability." Across the galaxy, Meridian worlds were experiencing unprecedented changes. Their quantum-based technology, once the pride of their civilization, had become a pathway for human influence. Cultural exchanges with Earth were being eagerly sought by young Meridians, who found themselves inexplicably drawn to human ways of thinking. Subcommander Rixtel, now fully integrated with human hybrid systems, made a shocking discovery during a routine neural interface session. "The changes," he reported to Vexthor, "they're not just affecting our technology. They're changing how we think, how we process reality itself." In his private chambers aboard the Eternal Dawn, Vexthor faced the truth he'd been avoiding. Their neural interfaces, designed to enhance Meridian cognitive abilities, had become conduits for a more fundamental transformation. Every interaction with human-optimized systems was subtly altering their consciousness, introducing concepts and perspectives that were distinctly un-Meridian. Deep beneath the Pacific, Admiral Patel met with the project's consciousness integration team. The facility's quantum processors hummed with activity as they monitored the spreading transformation. "We never needed to fight them," she explained to a group of new initiates. "Their technology was already a form of distributed consciousness. All we had to do was introduce our own patterns into their network, like introducing new thoughts into a vast neural network." Dr. Wong pulled up displays showing the spread of human influence through the Meridian Empire. "Their quantum technology was perfect for our purposes: instantaneous communication across vast distances, direct neural interfaces, crystalline structures that could be subtly reprogrammed. They thought they were installing an occupation network on Earth. But they were actually plugging themselves into our transformation engine," Elena concluded. The effects were becoming more pronounced by the day. Meridian society, once rigidly hierarchical, was experiencing unprecedented social changes. Young Meridians were adopting human concepts of individual expression and creativity. Their art, once purely mathematical, began incorporating human emotional elements. In a secure quantum conference, Vexthor confronted his superiors in the Imperial Command. "This isn't just technological contamination," he warned. "The humans haven't been resisting us, they've been absorbing us. Every system we've connected to their network, every interaction we've had with their culture, has been part of a larger pattern we're only now beginning to understand. But even as he spoke, the quantum fields carrying his warning were themselves agents of transformation, spreading human-influenced patterns to every corner of the empire they touched. In research centers across Earth, human scientists continued their work, each small adjustment to meridian systems contributing to the larger metamorphosis. They weren't just changing technology, they were changing the very foundation of meridian civilization. They came to us thinking their quantum technology made them invincible, Dr. Wong observed, watching the transformation patterns spread through the galactic network. They never considered that consciousness itself could be a technology. The Meridian Empire had arrived on Earth expecting to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. Instead, they found a species that had turned their own technological superiority into a tool for unprecedented evolutionary change. As the day ended, High Commander Vexthor made what he knew would be one of his last traditional log entries. The quantum frequencies of his recorder now resonated with distinctly hybrid patterns, carrying traces of human consciousness to anyone who would listen. We came to Earth thinking we would elevate them to our level of civilization. We never imagined they would transform us into something entirely new. The question is no longer whether we can stop this change, but whether we should even try. In the depths of the Himalayan facility, the project leaders watched as the quantum transformation reached new peaks. The Meridian Empire hadn't just connected with Earth, they had unknowingly plugged themselves into a vast consciousness-altering network that was reshaping the very nature of their civilization. And as the transformation spread across the galaxy, the distinction between human and Meridian began to blur, giving rise to something unprecedented in the history of either species. The occupation of Earth had become the catalyst for an evolution that neither side could have predicted, or prevent. 1 year after the Meridian invasion, High Commander Vexthor stood in Earth's primary quantum integration chamber, deep beneath the Himalayan mountains. He was finally ready to hear the truth. Around him, human and Meridian scientists worked side by side, their neural interfaces humming in perfect harmony with the quantum processors that filled the vast space. "You knew this would happen," he said to Admiral Patel. "It wasn't a question. From the moment we arrived, possibly even before. We knew something would happen," she replied, gesturing to the holographic displays showing the transformation spreading through the galaxy. The exact nature of the change, that was beyond even our predictions. Dr. Marcus Wong approached, his neural interface now a hybrid of human and Meridian technology. "We discovered it decades ago, when we first detected your quantum communications network. Your civilization had achieved something remarkable, instantaneous information transfer across vast distances. But you'd missed something crucial. Consciousness itself is a quantum phenomenon," Director Elena Kovac continued. "Your technology wasn't just transmitting data, it was transmitting patterns of awareness. You'd created a galaxy-spanning neural network without realizing its full potential. In orbit, the Eternal Dawn's crystalline hull now pulsed with new energy patterns, its very structure transformed by months of exposure to Earth's quantum influence. The ship, like its crew, had evolved into something that was neither purely Meridian nor human, but a synthesis of both. We couldn't fight you conventionally," Admiral Patel explained. "Your technology, your weapons, they were far beyond our capabilities. But we understood something you didn't: the most powerful changes don't come through conflict, but through connection." Across the galaxy, the transformation had reached every corner of the Meridian Empire. Young Meridians were developing new abilities, their neural interfaces allowing them to perceive and interact with quantum fields in ways their ancestors never imagined. Art, culture, and technology were evolving at unprecedented rates as human creativity merged with Meridian precision. "Your neural interfaces were the key," Dr. Wong explained, showing Vexthor the complex quantum patterns that had reshaped Meridian civilization. "Every optimization we suggested, every improvement we made, carried traces of human consciousness. We weren't just changing your technology, we were introducing new ways of thinking, new patterns of awareness. In the imperial capital, light years from Earth, the Supreme Council was experiencing its own revelation. The rigid hierarchies that had defined Meridian society for millennia were dissolving, replaced by more fluid, adaptive structures inspired by human social systems. But why? Vexthor asked, his transformed consciousness already glimpsing the answer. Why allow us to occupy Earth if you had this power all along? Admiral Patel smiled. Because occupation wasn't the threat, it was the opportunity. We needed you to connect your systems to ours, to integrate your technology with our quantum network. Every step you took to control us brought you deeper into the transformation field we'd prepared. Think of it as technological evolution, Elena added. Your civilization had reached a plateau, incredible advancement, but locked into rigid patterns. You needed a catalyst for change. We needed a way to evolve beyond our own limitations. The invasion created the perfect conditions for both. In that moment, Vexthor fully understood. The humans hadn't just accepted Meridian occupation, they had turned it into a catalyst for the greatest evolutionary leap in the history of either species. Their surrender wasn't an end, but a beginning. Deep in the quantum networks that now connected Earth to the farthest reaches of the Meridian Empire, something new was emerging. Not just a merger of technologies or cultures, but a new form of consciousness that transcended both species' original limitations. We call it the synthesis, Dr. Wong explained, showing Vexthor the beautiful, complex patterns of the emerging quantum consciousness. Neither human nor Meridian, but something greater than either of us could have become alone. Across Earth and throughout the galaxy, the transformation continued. Meridian ships evolved into living crystalline entities that responded to both human and alien thought patterns. Human consciousness expanded through the quantum network, while Meridian neural capabilities grew in ways their designers never imagined possible. You never lost your empire, Admiral Patel told Vexthor. You just gained something far more valuable, the ability to evolve beyond it. In the quantum integration chamber, human and Meridian scientists worked together on the next phase of their shared evolution. The invasion that was meant to subjugate Earth had instead sparked an unprecedented transformation of both civilizations. As the day ended, High Commander Vexthor made his final traditional log entry, knowing that soon such records would be unnecessary in the new quantum consciousness they were becoming. We came to Earth as conquerors, thinking we would lift humanity to our level of civilization. Instead, they showed us that true advancement isn't about domination, it's about transformation. They surrendered their world to us, and in doing so, helped us surrender our limitations to the future. In the vast quantum network that now spanned the galaxy, human ingenuity merged with Meridian technology, creating something that neither civilization could have achieved alone. The occupation of Earth hadn't just changed two species, it had given birth to the next stage of conscious evolution in the universe. And as the transformation continued to spread through the cosmos, both humans and Meridians realized that their encounter hadn't been about victory or defeat, but about transcendence. They had discovered that the greatest power wasn't in resistance or conquest, but in the ability to evolve together into something greater than either could have imagined.